This fully functional GUI Invoice Generator is the ultimate goal of this tutorial series. Along the way, you will master essential concepts of Python's Tkinter package. First, we will lay the groundwork by designing a layout window using frames and the geometry managers, pack, place, and grid. By the end of this video, you will have a structured, organized foundation to build upon for your project. Let's get started. In this tutorial, we'll cover setting up Tkinter window, using frames for layout organization, understanding and applying the pack geometry manager, facing widgets precisely using place, creating responsive designs with grid, combining pack, place, and grid effectively. We'll also address common pain points like widgets overlapping or alignment issues and how to fix them. Let's dive right in. We start by importing the star of the show, Tkinter package, and assign our layers Tk to it for ease of use. Next, let's create the main application window by calling the Tk class and assign it to our root variable. You can use whatever name you find suitable. Then we set the window's title by calling the title method. To define the window's dimension, we use the geometry method and pass in the width and height of the window as strings. Then the resizable method allows for resizing of the window. For fixed dimensions, you can pass in false. Finally, on setting up the Tkinter window, we'll call the main loop method. This keeps the window running until closed manually. Let's run our code. Next, we'll organize the layout using frames. Frames act as containers within your Tkinter window, allowing you to group widgets for better organization and control. Let's create the following three frames: the header, content, and footer frame. Here, the frame method creates a frame within the main window, while the bj property sets the background color of the frame, while this stretches the frame horizontally to fit the window. Don't worry, we'll discuss the path method next. The expand equals true allows the frame to grow with the window when resized. Frames divide the window into logical sections. Now let's arrange widgets within these frames. The pack method arranges widgets in a linear order, top to bottom or left to right, making it ideal for simple layouts. First, let's add a label widget to the header frame. A label widget displays text or images. Here we pass the parent location, which is the header frame, and pass in a text, background color, font color, and the font family. Then we call the pack method and pass in the pad y equals 20, which adds vertical padding of 20 points to the label. While pack is great for basic layouts, it has limitations. For precise control, let's explore place method. The place method allows you to position widgets precisely using specific X and Y coordinates. Let's say it in action. Here we'll add a button to the footer frame. This positions the button at specific X and Y coordinates within the frame. Precise positioning can be tedious for complex layouts. For responsive designs, let's move on to grid method. The grid manager organizes widgets into rows and columns, creating a table-like structure for responsive layouts. Let's create a grid in the context frame. The grid method places the label widgets in specific rows and columns, while the pad X and pad Y allows us to add spacing around the widgets. You can combine these methods for more complex layouts. Here is the trick. Use pack for high-level sections, for example, header, content, and footer. Use grid within sections for structured layouts, and use place for precise adjustments when necessary. One final tip before we go. Using the principles of frames, pack, and organization, let's design the base of our invoice generator app. First, let's import Tkinter, the core library for building GUI applications in Python. Then for the Tkinter, we import the Tk and photo image. While the Tk is the main window class we expand for our app, the photo image is used for adding images such as icons to the app. Next, let's define our invoice class, which inherits from the Tk class, meaning our invoice app is a specialized version of the main Tkinter window. Using classes and method keeps your code clean and reusable. The init method is the initializer method, called when an instance of the invoice app is created. The super.init method ensures that the parent class ticket is properly initialized. If any of these concepts sounds overwhelming, we have a 3-minute video in our Python basic playlist where we demystify inheritance and class instance in Python. I would recommend you check it out. Next, we set the Windows properties. The geometry method defines the window size, width 750 pixels, height 450 pixels, while the title method sets the app's Windows title. Setting the height and width to false inside the resizable method disables Windows resizing, ensuring a fixed size for the layout. Then we call the photo image method, which loads an image and pass it to the fev_icon variable. The icon photo method sets the app's icon to the loaded image. The first parameter applies the icon to the main window only. Next, we create the top frame within the main application window and pass the pack method, which adds padding around the frame for a neat and spaced layout. This top_frame will act as the container for feature widgets like labels, buttons, and input fields. Now let's run the application. This if statement ensures that this code runs only when the script is executed directly, not when imported as a module. Here we create an instance of the invoice class and call the main loop method, which starts the Tkinter event loop, keeping the app window open until closed by the user. Congratulations, you've just designed the base layout for our invoice generator. This structure will serve as a foundation for adding widgets and functionalities in the next steps. In the next video, we'll dive into adding widgets like input fields, drop-downs, and buttons to make this layout interactive and functional. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. Let's continue building this exciting project together. See you soon.